Good evening, everyone. Tonight I'm going to be talking to you about writing our 2016-2017 Quality Improvement Plan. Quality Improvement Plans are often referred to in the industry as a QIP, and I'm going to be talking about how we're going to collaborate and write it together as a team, which is something that's really exciting. Firstly, there will be heaps of graphics in this because I've been given feedback that sometimes some of my presentations are a little bit boring because I like the wordiness, and so I'm trying very hard to keep graphics and keep it fun and interesting so I hold your attention. So tonight we're talking about why do we have a quality improvement plan in this slide, and I guess having a quality improvement plan is setting goals that become achievable because you have a plan and you have a deadline. And as you can see in some of these quotes, the victory of success is half won when one gains the habit of setting and achieving goals. And I guess that's what a CEQA really wants for us. It wants to help us improve by encouraging us and, I guess, enforcing us to set and achieve goals. A good quality improvement plan can make the act of improving quality at your service achievable. For those who have worked under the past accreditation, you might recall that the only time services, depending on where you worked towards improving was about 3 weeks prior to your accreditation visit, and they would work really hard in that little timeline then and then keep the standards up for that short 2 to 6 week period where you might know they're going to be visiting. From where I was working previously, we kind of knew the 2 week window rather than the larger window. And as soon as the accreditation visit was over, it was back to old standards. I guess the quality improvement plan keeps us accountable all the time. So what is the purpose of the quality improvement plan? As you can see that I've written here, but I'll read it in case you're listening in the car or listening while you're doing other things. The quality improvement plan is to help us self-assess our performance and to see where we're at. Usually use the Guide to the National Quality Standards and have a look through that book. Either that or the assessor would have written in your last quality improvement plan, which was very well documented in our last, not the quality improvement plan, what's it called, the assessment and rating report, and it was very detailed now, so we're quite lucky. It helps guide assessors in their assessment and rating. So we submit our quality improvement plan prior to our assessment and rating visit, and the assessor looks at it and she can see, or he can see, our strengths, our weaknesses, what we're working on. I guess it's a really good place to demonstrate the community input your service has, the family input you're getting. The quality improvement plan helps services to document and recognise, oh yeah, that's right, I just talked about strengths and areas of improvement. I guess the quality improvement plan asks us to prioritise, and I like the word triaging, and working out what is most important, what do we need to focus on first. And for anyone who knows me really well, I struggle with the triaging and the focusing, so I find quality improvement plans very helpful to me. A quality improvement plan helps us determine who is responsible for those improvements. Ideally, I'd like us to be working together as a team and being responsible together. The quality improvement plan also includes how we plan on improving. So you need to write out strategies. That way, I guess you're more accountable to those strategies, and writing them out makes it more than just a dream or a vision. It actually gives people steps on what to do, and it means, I suppose, in the absence of yourself, if you're on holidays or whatever else, someone can still continue to follow through on the plan. And as well, the assessor can see where we're at. And that's the final column is, are we or have we implemented these improvements, which is, I think it's called progress notes in the QIP. So what is a QIP, or a quality improvement plan? This is a little bit boring in this section. The regulations state that all services must have a quality improvement plan. They must keep it on the service premises. They must have it available to show if parents of a child, two parents of a child who is enrolled or is seeking to enrol a child at the service, so i.e. it cannot be a secret hidden in the storeroom and you never look at it or never show anyone. And you must review and revise the quality improvement annually or at any time the department asks. and all services must submit their quality improvement plan to the department on request. Our service, since we had the staff meeting on the QIP, we have had our compliance officer request to see the quality improvement plan, and then she requested that we revise the QIP in line with the suggestions that she made back in our assessment and rating report, and she only said that's all she wants to see in our current quality improvement plan, and nothing other than the suggestions she's made, except in quality areas where there may be no suggestions. Anyway, if you're feeling very confused, don't worry. Try not to get stressed out, because whether you think you can help me and help our team at IOC, or whether you think you can't, you're going to be right. So I really need everyone to have a positive attitude and a can-do attitude, because we can do this together as a team. And if you are feeling confused after this PowerPoint, just come and have a chat, because I'm more than willing to help you. We're going to have a look at where we are. At present, we're working towards with our last A&R. We've had 2 recent spot checks for compliance, and since the staff meeting, we're actually up to 4, maybe 5, I think it's 4 compliance checks, but we are due for another one again soon. Our policies needed doing at time of writing this PowerPoint, but we've since completed the drafts. We just need everyone to submit their reviews, and then they'll be finalised. Our quality improvement plan needed writing. We're actually in the process of writing it, and this is what the presentation is about. And then we've got the work. So I know some of our staff have been really discouraged, and I just wanted to remind you that while failure defeats losers, it also inspires winners. So I want you to stay really inspired and really positive, reach for the stars, because do you know what? Even if we hit the middle, we're going to be doing really well. And I'm so excited to see what kind of progress we can make together as a team at IOC. And I hope you catch my enthusiasm, because enthusiasm is contagious. Just like a little bit of yeast goes through the whole loaf of bread, your little bit of enthusiasm can spread throughout the whole entire centre. So I want you to keep that in mind. So what goes into a QIP? A QIP must address the operation, policy and practices of the service against the national quality standards and the national regulations. A QIP must identify the areas you consider may require improvement, and it must contain your service philosophy. So during the staff meeting, we stopped right here and we talked about the importance of having a philosophy that was relevant to your service, a philosophy that was really engaging, talked about your vision, what pedagogy, having a philosophy that grounds everyone, that keeps everyone rowing the boat in the same direction. And with our revision of our quality improvement plan, we may also look at revising our service philosophy. Unlike a compliance letter that tells us what we need to improve, with a quality improvement plan, the best bits, our dreams, our visions and our goals of how we want to improve our service is all up to us. So, and this is where we capture our dreams and actually put it all into action in our quality improvement plan. And with our quality improvement plan, we do not need to address every single standard and element of the national quality standards in it. I suppose when all the draft of the standards and elements and of the National Quality Framework came out, and this was all new, and centres hadn't even been assessed and they needed a QIP, some centres went to crazy overboard and wrote against every standard and element. Some only did it against one. So I guess that's why they now have guides and have made things a bit clearer. So on the side here, I've just got a little box. You cannot always control what goes on a compliance letter. So as we know, we've had quite a lengthy list of things we need to do. But you can always control what goes in your QIP and what your vision and strategies are for the service. But I lied a little bit, because there is things that can't go into the QIP. And that's evidence that you're not meeting a regulatory requirement. Services must meet regulatory requirements at all times. These are the minimum standards for operating a service. And keep in mind the word minimum. This is why you cannot just aim for meeting because that's the minimum. And if for some reason you miss the meeting, that's how you get working towards. This is why I really want to aim for exceeding, because even if we miss the exceeding, we'll be back towards meeting. But I'm pretty sure we can do better than meeting. We'll see how we go. Anyway, what also doesn't go until QIP is something that we could resolve within an hour or two of attention. If it's something that is easy to improve upon, we just need to do it. What is the first step in completing the QIP? The first step is a self-assessment. It doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you get there. And this is really exciting for someone like me who's got a brain like me, because as everyone knows, I'm all over the place all at once, and I actually get a lot of energy out of being like that. But everyone who's responsible for the QIP might be working in a different way. So they've really left, like I suppose the EYLF, they've left it open to be contextual to your service and contextual to the environment it's written within. So, as you can see down here, I've got thoughts more tangled than my headphones. That, as you know, is me. So we start with this self-assessment, and then we've got squiggly lines, and I'm looking at the guide to the regs and the law, looking at the national quality standards, looking at the past, our past A&R report, our past quality improvement plan, and lots and lots and lots of listening to staff, listening to families, listening to, I guess, what community organisations might be saying to and about our service. And all of these things here are the starting point for our quality improvement plan and preparation. What are the major components of the quality improvement plan? First is your philosophy. This is something your assessor is going to be reading to get to know the service before they come and visit. So they really want to know what is at the heart of the service and what you're passionate about and believing in. And then the other major component is under each quality area, your strengths, and what does your service do well in the quality area, and the key improvements sought. So what are you wanting to improve on and change this year? And then finally, your improvement plan, which is what you are going to change and how you are going to change it. What to avoid? As you can see here, I put do some of the things, because too many standards identified in need of quality improvements, that's a fast way to not get anywhere. Success measures not being clear. Again, if you can't measure your success, it's hard to say whether or not you've actually achieved your goal. Strengths being understated. I have read some quips online where people have only put in their weaknesses rather than actually saying what their strengths were. Unrealistic timelines. So, how many quality areas can you really work on at the one time? And this is something I've even spoken to our assessor about. She said to me on the phone that she didn't believe that we could do everything that she had suggested on her report by the time it was our next assessment and rating visit. And she said, look, even though we're behind, you've just got 13 suggestions that I've made in quality area 1. She said, that's one quality area alone. I don't think you can do it. She's like, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to be realistic. And I said to her, well, guess what? I'm really hoping we can prove you wrong. And I said it in a great way too. And I want some feedback on this. And I told her about my idea, how each of our staff and team are going to be working on a different quality area. That way we can get through as many of the suggestions as she suggested. That sounds silly. As many suggestions as she has recommended as fast as we can, and doing it really well too. And she actually really liked that. I can't take credit for it. I did see it online and I thought it was a really good idea. And having such a huge staffing team like we do here at ISC, I thought it'd be something that is quite doable for us. Other things to avoid is progress comments not showing actual movement towards goal. And I have to agree, when I've read some quips online, some people they just write really fluffy things in there, and you can actually tell that there's no movement. They've just gone, oh crap, we should have done that already, and so just write any old thing. Inclusion of things that are very simple to resolve, and that's something we discussed before. Inclusion of regulatory compliance issues, again we discussed it already. Not enough detail, too few quality improvements listed. This is where the Einsteins went, I'm just going to list a couple. And you know, kudos to them, like that's quite smart. If there's a way of doing the regulations and doing it in the easiest way possible, I am all for that, as long as it's quality. Then other things to avoid is the disconnect between obvious quality improvements needed and what is actually in the QIP. So I guess if you walked into our service and you had a quick look through our portfolios, those, and I guess the lack of the planning cycle and things like that, if that wasn't evidenced in our QIP as something that we need addressing education-wise, and then I guess that's where they would start seeing a disconnect, or I guess our lack of sustainability efforts. Again, if we didn't recognise any of that in our QIP, it become very obvious that we hadn't done a proper self-assessment based on the guide to the national regulations, national quality standards, sorry. And other things to avoid is not breaking your goals down into realistic actions and just having fluffy language in there, because otherwise it's going to be very hard to actually have any strategies because you haven't thought about it together beforehand. Bad writing, grammar and layout. I have seen some that are poorly laid out. I've seen some that are excellently laid out. And some of the feedback I got post this presentation was about more examples. So that's something I'm going to try and present at our next staff meeting. Big but ultimately unachievable ideas. I have something really funny for this point. At a centre that I was director at, and I apologise to the previous director, she was just aiming big. The centre did not have much money. We're in a really low socioeconomic area, and she had written in or whoever it was, had written in our quality improvement plan for rest time for every child to have iPods. And, you know, that's realistically very unachievable for our centre, and anyone who would have walked into the centre and I guess knowing the area that we were in, because we were actually identified by the Bureau of Statistics of being very low socioeconomic area, and as well by looking at the service resources, you would know it's unachievable. Anyway, back to the list. What to avoid: not identifying who is going to do what, and this is where we are actually going to have our teams of staff going to be identified as working on each of the quality areas, and then ultimately whether or not you're going to be reporting to the director, or whether you're going to be reporting to myself, or whether you're going to be reporting to Vicky if it's an administrative task. Good to know that we can actually use the exceeding column of the National Quality Standards, the ratings instrument, to set good outcomes and goals and success measures in our QIP. And this is where I've done challenge considered, because really this will make our quality improvement plan writing so easy when we just go down that column. How do we write a QIP? There are templates on the SQL website that we do not have to use. There is no minimum or maximum length of the QIP. The assessment and compliance officers will have read hundreds of QIPs by the time every service in Queensland is assessed, and that actually should say thousands. Even when I spoke to our assessor, our compliance officer, that came through the other week, she was saying that they are absolutely knee-deep in reading QIPs and writing reports, and I guess they've got a lot going on, so you really want your service to be able to stand out, making sure that your QIP's easily readable, tells a coherent story about the service, and above all, remains professional. So clear layout and good writing, challenge accepted. I can't wait to think of a really fun way to be able to write a quality improvement plan, and to write it in a way that's accessible to all our stakeholders, write it in a way that all our stakeholders can give feedback and can add to it in real time. And that's something that's really exciting to me, because last time I wrote a quality improvement plan for a service, I actually did just use the SQL template because it was 3 years ago, I think. And so everything was still fairly new, and ideally I like when I'm learning to just follow the government templates, but as I get better and, well, that didn't sound very humble, as I start learning more, I like starting to get a bit more creative and making things more contextual and just seeing what we are capable as the service. Alright, so here is some layouts of some quality improvement plans I found on Pinterest. Someone's a big fan of the hungry caterpillar there. They've written under each quality area, which is part of the caterpillar's body, what their current goals are with their QIP, and they've got clipboards for parents to write on. And the next one has the parent's voice, and it's got clipboards again for parents to write on, but as you can see from that picture, it is blank. Most of us would know who've worked in the sector for a while. It can be very hard to get parents to give feedback, or families, and I think it's because parents are quite time poor, and on their way in they've got little Johnny who's either really not wanting to go in or really wanting to come into the centre, and so they're trying to make the drop off as quick as possible, and then in the afternoon for pick up they're just hanging to see how their child's doing for the day. So this is probably where we're going to look at more at using apps next year, so that way we can have better communication when parents have a little bit of time up their sleeve rather than when they're distracted. The next one over has lots of photos of what they're aiming to do or what they're currently doing with their quality improvement plan, and I like that. Parents quite like photos, so does the one on the bottom left. It has photos again, and really large arrows of what the educators are doing at the time to meet those quality areas. There's another one there of clipboards, and finally that one has each of the quality areas in a frame and asking for feedback again on clipboards. And I guess the frames, the idea behind it was to draw more attention to the quality areas. This one here is probably my favourite. It lists each of the quality areas, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quality areas. Each quality area is divided into a team. They've got photos on what they're currently doing. They've got, at that time, this is what I'm guessing anyway from this photo, there's all their quality area folders down there. Each of the staff are working on something different in the centre, and as it's achieved, it comes out of that frame into the folder, done. They're asking for feedback there, they've got a little guide there for families, and hopefully electric tea lights, because knowing our luck would set the place on fire. Alright, so, I've got the plan right here. So small actions times lots of people, and do you know what, guys, we have a lot of people here. I think we've got 26 or 27 educators. My last service I worked at, we had 7 educators. And that's over the whole entire staffing time. We were a really small service. And I guess because we've got so many people, what I was going to say with only having 7 educators is that we still had the same number of quality areas, still had the same number of standards and elements to be looking at. So we are quite privileged, even though sometimes for some it might seem like a really big challenge with how large our service is. I'm actually seeing it as something that's really exciting, how large our service is, because then we can make bigger changes. So our plan is to make 7 small teams. Lauren, which is me, to gather as much information as she can about the service against the quality areas. Now, since doing this presentation, our compliance officer, Linda, has given us feedback about what she would like in our quality improvement plan instead. So at the next staff meeting, which is very soon, I'm going to be presenting the information. So what we will be looking at our next staff meeting is I've broken down our assessment and rating report into a quality improvement plan without the strategies, without the priorities, without the how. That way we can work on that as a team. So initially we were going to be 7 small teams, choosing elements of strengths as well as elements of weaknesses they feel confident to lead others to work on. Now, unfortunately, because we will be in our teams helping the rest of the staff, and hopefully we'll be able to all really work well together. Now, our compliance officer again wrote down some strengths, and she's written down some weaknesses. She hasn't identified all our strengths, so we will need to do that together at the staff meeting. Teams hopefully will be able to quickly brainstorm how we want to demonstrate our strengths and some brief strategies about how we want to work on our weaknesses. Now, I've already started working on the presentation for next time, and I have given examples of strategies so that all you will have to do is choose one, or if none of them are applicable, then you can write your own. Then after the staff meeting, I'm going to use all of the information to write the quality improvement plan. So yay, you guys don't have to do the hard work. But I actually really love it because I'm that kind of person. Across the service, we will have a lot of conversation happening with the strategies. I'm planning on blowing these up big in A3 in the staff room. We are going to be working on this really hard as a team together. I hope to do the same thing as that other service did with having something out in the foyer where we can get feedback from families. Currently, we've already got in our foyer the quality areas, and I'm asking parents to give feedback with post-it notes. At present, we're not getting much feedback, but they're only giving positive too. But I can see the ones where they're not putting as many post-it notes. That means that they're not feeling as comfortable with saying, yes, we're really good at that area. So I'm just going to take from that this is something we need to work on, the ones missing less positive post-it notes. And we need teams to keep myself and our centre director since resigned. So whoever our centre director ends up being, or maybe our executive officer in this period, teams to help keep us accountable for these small goals. And when we've finished each of these strategies and the goals, then you know what, our quality improvement plan is going to be quite lengthy based on our last assessment and rating report. So then you can choose your next goal. And once your team's finished all theirs, I would love you to pick the underdog team that aren't doing as well and help them. We need to make teamwork more about being about you. So not about yourself, about the other you, like the people all around you. And I guess being a Christian organisation, treating others the way you would like to be treated. So looking at how we can help others. Now, with great power comes great responsibility. And so I know for some people that this is quite frightening and it makes you freak out. And as a night of a staff meeting, I could tell people are a little bit freaked out thinking about how am I going to do this? I'm only Cert 3 trained, or for some of us, English is our second language, and so I understand it's a little bit even more scary there. And this is where the teamwork is really going to come into play. We are here for one another. It's okay to say, I don't know, or I'm not sure on something, because you know what? I am pretty sure if someone else doesn't know, or myself, will be able to help you find it, or even our wonderful compliance officer has been amazing. Anything I haven't known or I've been unsure about, because I have worked in New South Wales 10 years, and this is my first year back in Queensland. I only did 3 years in Queensland, and so I've said to her, look, I'm not really familiar with the Queensland regulations, just save me having a look through all the regulation book. Can you answer this question for me? And she's been fantastic. So I don't want you to be scared, because we have amazing people who are happy to help us. And honestly, the compliance officer's job, their job is to help us meet and to achieve and to pass. And they're paid by the government to do so. So they're happy to answer your calls. So just come to me. Don't be scared. You'll be fine. All right. So you are always one decision away from a totally different centre, workplace, career. I want you to get so excited that you have the power to make changes. You have the power to make a difference within our service. And I am really happy to impart this power to you and to see what you're capable of and see what you're going to do. I mean, surprise me. Go reach for the stars. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. All right. Now we have the salad, which is, more boring stuff. Sorry, people who love salads. I need to love salads. All right, when writing on the quality improvement plan, we need to think of the issues that are stopping us from achieving the standard and element identified, or your dreams within that standard and element. I suppose inclusion support, call it barriers. So think about the barriers, like what's stopping you. And for our wonderful educators that are writing our inclusion support plan at the moment with our inclusion professional. She has started with the barriers, and our educators are just coming up with the most amazing ideas, and it's really exciting actually. Everything that's been put in that inclusion plan so far, we can actually put directly into our QIP. We're going to get bonus points for including the community. Anyway, back to this. We need to describe the actual issue in our quality improvement plan, thinking of an outcome that resolves the issue, writing clear steps and who is responsible for what needs to be done, and making sure we can measure this success and that it is observable and concrete. All of these things are in the template on the SQL website, and it's something, if we wanted to deviate from the template, that we need to keep in mind. So I know this is a really wordy page, but just glance at it if you need to. So you're going to be doing strengths brainstorming, and I'm going to be turning it into statements that use bullet points and are short sentences. Writing dynamically, which is, I suppose, basically the way I speak anyway. So enthusiastically, engaging. I'm trying to think of other words to do with dynamic. I can't think of any. Using the service name repeatedly, especially in the strengths section. So here where it says we would be like, IOC take pride in ensuring fair. I would list our full service name, but just in case this ends up getting shared on, I won't. Try not to use too much jargon. So you can see, and that would be, I'm not sure about why it says about the jargon, but you can see when glancing between these two that one is really, really wordy and one looks easy to read. And when you think assessors have got hundreds of these to read, the ones they're going to get excited about reading are the ones that look easy to read. I mean, it's just human nature, really. There's more practical solutions to writing clearer statements, and that's identifying the issue, giving specifics of the issue, and explaining how the services practice falls short of the intent of the elements and why this is a problem. So there's two examples here, and one, this is a fluffy statement. It's like really random. It could be for any centre, any service. This one here, although it's lengthier, it actually identifies exactly what the issues are, and then it will make your strengths really easy to write. So here's the standard element, what outcome or goal they seek, and it's just a short, sparkly comment there. The priority of it, how they will get the outcome, like you can see there's a lot of strategies there. And then success measure, so an assessor or compliance officer, that's walking in and goes, okay, establishment of a compost bin, establishment of a donation box for families, a display established with advertised recycling, and by when? End of term 2 and policy by the end of term 3. So if someone was to come in at the end of term 3 and these 3 things here weren't done, they know that even though it's a high priority, they know that they haven't been working on their QIP. Usually there's an extra column here that says progress notes that will say, maybe if you've said that we trying to source a draft sustainability policy from CCCC, which is Community Childcare Cooperative something or other, and say we couldn't do it because our computer broke and it wasn't fixed for weeks because we had no money or something like that. I'm just throwing an example in there, but that way they can see that you've actually tried and what's actually gone wrong, because I guess compliance officers have generally worked in childcare before. I'm not aware of any that haven't, and they understand what it can be like working in services, and sometimes then you've got heaps of hoops to jump to get things done. So just being really honest is what they'll appreciate. So it's about working hard together in our little team, and the quality area, and I did think, let's see what quality area gets the highest rating, and let's be an amazing team and help each other reach our goals. I just think that all the chosen information that is presented will not be wasted. This is when we were going to write our own strategies and our own goals. But, beyond achieving all those in our assessment and rating report, I've started writing other ones we might think about. And even if we don't end up doing it, later down the track we might consider it. So if your team needs help, please say so. And have a look here. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. This is something I believe is, can be one of our mantras, for lack of a better word. I can do things you cannot. You can do things I cannot. Together we do great things. And this will be reflecting on our last staff meeting where we talked about the body of Christ, and everyone plays a different part. But together as a team we work. Teamwork divides the task and multiplies the success, and that's basically what we are trying to do. And teamwork makes the dream work. And it sounds lame, but do you know what? These are quotes and sayings for a reason, because it's true. So what are other practical ways we can assess where we are? And that's the National Quality Standards Self-Assessment Instrument, and there's a link right there for it. Alright, goal setting. It needs to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So basically that is everything within a quality improvement plan. ACEQA have taken early childhood, and quality improvement plans are generally reserved for other parts of the business sector. And they've gone, do you know what, we think this can work amazingly within an early childhood service. And do you know what, I think they're right. So we dream big, we set goals, and we take action. If we want exceeding, it doesn't happen by chance. It happens by vision, by passion, and by hard work. Don't let down the team. So that means if you're struggling, don't be afraid to ask for help. And don't be scared to let down the team either. You won't. You guys are going to do fabulous. And you know what? The harder you work, the luckier you get. So what you choose to do between now and when we are assessed again early next year is up to you. Don't give up, because the sun will rise and set regardless. What we choose to do with the light while we're here is up to us. So we need to choose our journey in the next couple of months wisely. So that means every day will come and go in childcare. As you are probably well aware, it goes by very fast some days. And it's what we choose to do within our time that's up to us. So, on a day where we've got extra staff available, you could choose to keep quiet and not bring it to someone's attention. Or you could choose to say, hey, we've got someone available down our end. Does anyone need to utilise this educator for something? Is there something we can work on around the centre that needs doing? Does anyone need catching up on their paperwork? Does our administrative officer Vicky need help with filing? Or does Lauren need help with all those random things I think of that I need help with? So yeah, I really would appreciate your proactiveness and your willing attitude between now and